by Gordon Rennie. Read by Adam Nicol. Maintain formation, Macarius. All that matters is that the rest of the convoy makes it safely to Aura. Need I remind you that as a senior adept of the Departmentum Unitorium, the safe delivery of the 3 guard regiment this convoy carries is my responsibility? Lieutenant Semper, captain of His Divine Majesty's ship, the Lord Solar Macarius, stared at the flickering green image of the gaunt-faced Adeptus Terra official on the Opticon screen before giving his carefully worded reply. Indeed, the cargo may be your responsibility, but the transports carrying them are mine. As commander of the convoy's navy escort, it is my decision to recover the 2 lost transports. This system is a pirate nest. We lost 4 transports here on the last run, and 5 the time before. I'll not lose any more this time. We will leave you the frigate escort and as many attack craft squadrons as we can spare. Pray that they are enough. Macarius, out. Severing the comlink, Semper turned away to face his senior command officers assembled before him on the bridge deck, catching their approving nods at the manner in which he had dealt with the Departmentum Unitorium official. Orders, sir, said his second-in-command, Flag Lieutenant Heitu Lanti. Bring us about, Master Lanti. Set course for the last known location of the Vanya and the Magna, and take us there. All ahead full. We've got 2 lost sheep to save from the wolf packs. Drifting amongst the cover of one of the system's many scattered asteroid fields, the commander of the pirate scout ship watched in satisfaction as the surveyor screen in front of him showed the larger target icon of the Imperial Dictator-class cruiser detach itself from the rest of the convoy. As he watched, he saw a swarm of smaller energy readings suddenly appear in the cruiser's wake. He is turning back for the stragglers and launching attack craft to guard the rest of the convoy, he noted, picking apart the enemy captain's battle plan. Starhawk bombers, probably, even with those 3 frigates in there. Even with those 3 frigates still there, he's not leaving enough firepower to protect the convoy's flanks. He paused, running a scarred hand over his face, feeling the strange new bone shapes forming under the splitting flesh. It had only been recently that he and the other pirate pack captains had formally sided with the forces of Abaddon and the Spoiler, but already the effects of the Mark of Chaos were starting to manifest themselves on all of them. Assemble the pack, he ordered. By the time that cruiser returns, all that will be left for it to protect will be drifting wreckage and some burnt-out hulks. Captain Madsen Chen of the Vanya looked round at the battered command deck, steadying himself against the side of his captain's pulpit as another explosion rocked his ship. Somewhere, thousands of kilometers of space behind them, their sister ship, the Magna, was in its death throes, its main drive crippled and its internal atmosphere bleeding out into space as the enemy used lance weapons to punch holes through its hull. Both ships were what were scathingly called junkers, ancient decommissioned hulks hastily refitted and pressed back into active service at the onset of the war. A convoy moves at the speed of its slowest ship, but, travelling through the pirate-infested wilderness space between Behen Moor and Aura subsectors, the limping speeds of the Vanya and the Magna had put the rest of the convoy in too much danger, and so they had been left behind as the other transports raced towards the safety of the next warp jump beacon. Another impact, stronger this time, rocked the command deck. Captain Chen looked at the tech adept monitoring the damage control systems. Damage report! The adept, checked the runes scrolling rapidly across the screen in front of him. "No weapons fire, Captain, but something just penetrated our hull. One of the enemy ships is launching assault craft. We're being boarded." Chen swore, his hand automatically reaching for the hilt of the saber hanging onto his belt, a pointless gesture of bitter defiance. Underarmed and undermanned, most of the other convoy transports had holds filled with thousands of Imperial Guard troops, but his carried only equipment and supplies. Vanya and its crew would be little challenge to any determined attacker. Still, Chen was a loyal servant to the Emperor, and he knew it was his duty to ensure that his ship and its cargo did not fall into the hands of the Emperor's enemies. He activated a rune on his command lectern, opening a comnet channel into the engine room sanctum, where the tech priests of the Adeptus Mechanicus nurtured and monitored the beating plasma core heart of the ship's power systems. "Captain Chen to Magos Henshaw. Commence your preparation for the rite of self-immolation. Shut down the cooling systems." He was interrupted by a shout by one of the crewmen manning the surveyor monitors. "Captain, we're reading the energy signals of another ship coming straight towards us. Emperor's mercy. It's the Macarius." The hard vacuum around the lead Starhawk bomber was filled with bright energy bursts as the squadron commander jigged his craft through the incoming enemy fire. He flinched as, several kilometers off to starboard, one of the wingmen suddenly exploded apart. The servitor behind him, hardwired into the ship's surveyor systems, counted off the range in 10-kilometer increments as they closed in on their targets. Latest reports now showed 15 pirate vessels prowling round the fringes of the convoy. They were keeping a wary distance from the formidable prow lances of the 3 Firestorm frigate escorts, but the Firestorms couldn't cover the entire convoy, and the pirates were making quick probing attacks up and down the line of transports, testing the 4 Starhawk squadrons left behind by the Macarius as a makeshift secondary line of defense. Now, finding a gap in those defenses, one pirate squadron was making a direct attack run on the convoy, and the Nemesis squadron was racing to intercept. Approaching optimum strike distance, the targets came into view through the cockpit's Opticon-enhanced viewing ports. They were system-class vessels, too small to be fitted with warp engines, and the pilot's experienced eye picked out the details of half a dozen other vessel types cannibalized in their construction. The remaining Starhawks launched as one, the engine trails of 10 plasma missiles streaking away towards the pirate ships. 2 of the pirates broke off and retreated, but the third was too slow, a line of missile strike raking it along its midships. The pirate gunship's hull burst open, and seconds later it exploded as its breached reactor went critical. Nemesis Squadron peeled away to avoid the debris cloud thrown out by the explosion. In his cockpit, Nemesis leader checked his instrumentation, seeing that his bomber's payload and fuel reserves were now at less than 50%. Attack craft such as the Starhawks had a severely limited operating capacity, and without mothership support, Nemesis and the other bomber squadrons would soon be unable to protect the convoy from the attacking pirate pack. The Comnet link crackled into life, his navigator feeding him the coordinates of another reported incoming pirate attack further down the line of transports. Nemesis 1 relayed the order to the rest of the squadron, bringing his swooping gold-winged craft around to the new heading, Vandia's Oath. He swore to himself, "Where is the Macarius?" The Macarius powered forward, armored blast doors sliding open along the large base sections on either side of its baroquely armored hull to unleash a wave of the deadly silver dart shapes of its Fury interceptor squadrons. The craft fell upon their targets with merciless abandon, and the void between the Vanya and its pirate squadron attackers was lit up by volleys of las cannon fire and the answering flashes of exploding assault craft. In the vanguard of the attack, Storm Leader eased back on the power flow to its engine systems and allowed the armored limpet shell shape of its target to drift through into its weapon sights. Storm Leader watched a row of runes on his instrument panel flash green, lock on, and stabbed the firing trigger, sending volleyed streams of las cannon fire from his wing-mounted weapon banks. The pirate assault boat disintegrated, and in the flare of burning gases escaping from the destroyed craft, the Imperial pilot could see the bodies of the assault troops spilling out into space as he peeled away, already in search of his next target. Aboard the Macarius, Lieutenant Semper watched as the pirate squadron disengaged from the attack on the Vanya, abandoning the assault craft wave to the marauding furies. Targets are dead ahead. Master of Ordnance Remus Nida reported. Torpedoes ready to fire on your command. They're too close to the Vanya, Semper noted. We can't risk any stray torpedoes locking onto it as well. Helm, give me ramming speed. All decks, brace for impact. The Imperial cruiser's plasma core engine sent it surging towards its target, and in the last few seconds before impact, Semper could clearly see the maneuvering thrusters studied along the hull of the pirate ship flare into life as it tried to slide out of the path of the oncoming 30-kilometer-long juggernaut. The adamantium armored prow of an Imperial cruiser was specifically designed for ramming attacks, though tactical orthodoxy, as taught in the naval academies on Cypra Mundi, said that such attacks should only be considered as a last resort. Thrown to the deck by the tremendous impact of the collision, feeling the shuddering tremors of his ship smashing a path through the body of the enemy ship, and hearing the exultant cheers of his crew as the Macarius carried on through the debris cloud of twisted wreckage of what only seconds ago had been another vessel, Lieutenant Semper could only disagree with his Naval Academy tutors. It was, quite simply, the most satisfyingly effective order he'd ever given. Semper climbed to his feet to find the impeccable and apparently unshakable figure of his second-in-command waiting for him. Vanya signals her thanks and requests a safe escort back to the convoy. Remaining enemy vessels are escaping, but still within range of our port-side batteries. Gun crews are ready and waiting. We are also picking up urgent Mayday signals from the main convoy. What are your orders, sir? Fire Drake reporting. Only 2 of us left. All payload expended. Harbinger reporting. Payload nil. Engine systems are running on vapors and prayers. Mantis reporting. Minimal payload and 5% fuel reserves remaining. Requesting assistance. 3 enemy vessels incoming on our position. Nemesis 1 listened to the litany of reports from his fellow squadron leaders, ignoring the flashing red warning runes of his own fuel monitor system. He keyed open the comlink channel. Nemesis to Mantis. We have just enough fuel left to reach you. We'll join you in a combined attack wave, and the comlink frequency buzzed with static as a powerful new transmission cut in. Macarius, to all Starhawk squadrons, stand down. We'll take it from here. Wolfpack. These pirate groups were called, but to Lieutenant Semper they seemed more like scavenging jackals, attacking weak and vulnerable prey, but fleeing at the approach of any larger predator. The Macarius and the Firestorms had pursued the pirate pack to the fringes of the asteroid fields, claiming another 4 kills along the way before turning back to rejoin the convoy. Now, with all surviving Starhawks safely recovered and the Vanya escorted safely back by 4 squadrons of Fury interceptors, the convoy had reached the edge of the system and was preparing to enter the warp.
Sampa looked out of the viewing port, staring at the pattern of now distant asteroid fields. The wolf pack were in there somewhere, hiding in their asteroid lairs, licking their wounds for now. But he knew they would be back again soon enough. One day, he promised himself, one day, when we've the time and the ships to spare, we'll be back in force to clean out these pirate nests. Then this scavenger pack, and all others like it, will know what it means to face the full might of Battlefleet Gothic.